This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, just outside the border of Culver City, and we have a councilwoman from Culver City. Her name is Meghan Sahli-Wells, and I've told you this before, but I got to tell you again, she biked here. I mean, it's just terrific that you bike here, and I know that's part of what your city is looking at, is to try to create more alternative transportation solutions.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I honor you. Let's talk about beautiful Ballona Creek.
Yes.
It is quite beautiful. For our viewers statewide who are not familiar with Ballona Creek, tell us about it.
Ballona Creek looks like a storm drain. It's actually
kind of.
a natural creek.
Right.
But because of flooding, historic flooding, the Army Corps of Engineers have put concrete along the sides, and it's a storm channel.
But I guess I should be more broad. The wetlands area.
The wetlands area
is quite beautiful.
As you go west
right.
toward, so most of the part in Culver City is a wonderful Class 1 bike lane.
Right.
Which is how I got here today.
Exactly. Along the creek?
Along the creek.
Right.
It's my own private highway.
Exactly.
I love it.
For no one else.
And then you have the creek, which is all cemented in.
Channelized.
And as you go west, then there's a natural. It gets
right.
more and more natural. So at some point, the concrete, the creek gets wider, and then the concrete bottom disappears,
right.
and that's where you see a lot of egrets and wildlife.
The wetlands.
And then it goes into the Ballona wetlands, which are outstanding, a really important ecological system that all of us are trying to protect. And Ballona Creek, is the largest watershed that goes into the Santa Monica Bay.
I see. And I must say, I've lived in the region for some time, and I know the Ballona wetlands, very controversial for decades, but yet somehow the community came to a resolution. We have some development at Playa Vista, but look, you don't get everything.
Sure.
And in the end, we still have the wetlands substantially intact.
We have the wetlands. We're looking to protect the wetlands, and part of what's important to Culver City and the region
right.
really is keeping the water clean.
And let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it's undeniable that the wetlands, as fed by Ballona Creek, Marina Del Rey, LA River, presumably, that there are toxins that can seep into the river, the creek, the wetlands. Explain that in as much depth as possible.
Okay.
7 minutes or less.
Right. This is a complex issue,
but we appreciate it.
And if you really want to go back, it all comes to the Clean Water Act,
right.
1972, in reaction to rivers.
Right.
On fire.
Literally,
right?
Literally. Was it Cleveland? It was in Cleveland,
yeah,
I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Rivers on fire. I mean, we had
out of nowhere.
A huge problem with pollution because, here's the deal. Anything that happens upstream finds its way to the water, and then the water flows, gets polluted, goes on fire in some cases, and then goes into the ocean. What happens in the ocean? We've got fish,
that we
wildlife.
Consume.
We consume it. They also have a right to, live. And so if you look back at the Clean Water Act, we've made tremendous progress from where we were in the 1960s. But even today, after a rain event in Southern California,
and
I'm sure
I pray for a rain event,
yes,
but that's another question.
But after a rain event, everybody gets notified, don't go swimming because you will die.
That's something,
because
there's something
there are
creepy about that.
It's true, and so what happens is the pollution that accumulates on rooftops, on surfaces. We've paved our cities to the hilt, right? So every surface is a hard surface for the most part. And water doesn't seep down. It doesn't go back into the water table, which is where our, part of our drought. But
hopefully
also,
we'll get that cement that will, or the asphalt that will allow water to seep in.
There is some of that. There is some of that. But yeah, we've got a long way to go. And so the water, the runoff, takes all the toxins, the pet waste, the copper that's on your brake pads, the lead that's in your tires, the
oil
pesticides that are being put on, grass and fertilizers and all that stuff is highly toxic. And so anytime it rains or anytime somebody uses water and it goes into the storm drain, what happens? It pollutes the water. So what we used to be able to do in cities to be in compliance with the Water Act, the Clean Water Act, you could do regular street sweeping, you could provide trash cans, and you would be in compliance, pretty much. But the standards have gotten stricter, and they should.
And I know that there are now standards which require cities to deal with their stormwater within their limits. They can't rely upon what may happen after the water leaves their city limits, which is complicated.
It's complicated. Obviously, water knows no boundaries. We have watersheds that work together. So you have, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, West Hollywood, Culver City, working together in a watershed. And we collectively have the responsibility over, in our case, Ballona Creek. Culver City has responsibility over 4% of what happens in Ballona Creek. LA has the lion's share of that responsibility. And what happens is, as we have to be in compliance with these new regulations, we can get fined. If a rain event happens, let's hope,
let it be.
and we take a measurement and there are too many toxins and pollutants in the water, we pay. We can pay up to $25,000 per day per pollutant. There are 33 pollutants. Then you can get fines from the federal government, and you're also subject to being sued by nonprofits.
So you're looking to get ahead of the issue.
Absolutely.
And the voters of Culver City are being presented with Measure CW, which deals with a desire to raise revenue for this very issue, for clean water, for clean beaches, and to address potential pollution in Ballona Creek. Tell us about CW in 2 minutes or less.
All right. So it's a parcel tax. We will need a 2/3 majority. It is polled well, so so far so good. And it would be $99 for a single family home. If you're in multifamily, it would be $69. And businesses, it's in the order of $1,600 per acre, I believe. $1,096 annually per acre of non-residential land.
How will the city use the money?
So there are multiple projects that we have kind of waiting to be funded. And we've done a lot of projects on our own. But things that are going to be positive for the city, whether we would be fined for not doing it or not. So green streets, rain gardens, finding natural infiltration.
Her name is Meghan Sahli-Wells. She's a councilwoman in Culver City. My name is Brad Pomerance on the west side of Los Angeles, Local Edition.